The most important thing when you're doing payment processing and fintech and on-chain processing, I'm assuming you're an on-chain processing platform. So when you're doing that, the volume of payments, it'll take some time for that trust to be built and customers to use it and all of that. And I will be lying if I tell you that you will get everything right in the first quarter, first 6 months, first 1 year. There will be so many challenges you will face. For example, clearinghouse delaying the payments, like you mentioned, forex, the dollar value impacting your whole transaction volume and all of that. So you will continue to face these challenges unless you bring in significant volume in. And volume obviously takes a little bit of time, right? I mean, you can go to CoinMarketCap or you can go anywhere and see Zebu's processing volume when we started versus now. We struggled to touch $1 million a day volume for almost about 12 weeks, like more than 2-3 months, right? Because what happened was, obviously there was a lot of corrections that we have to do, because when you are building these whole payment platforms, there are a lot of technological issues you will face. And second is, for you to build that trust in your users, obviously takes a lot of time. What is the easiest way to solve is, what we did is, we incentivized people for the first 6 months to use our platform. We gave them certain incentives instead of charging them. Today we charge 1% to sender, 1% to receiver. But when we started, we used to give 0.75% to sender and 0.75% to receiver in our tokens. So I'm sure you can probably come up with a similar thing of incentivizing. And second, this problem can be solved permanently when you do seamless expansion. And the beauty of Web3 is you don't need to have physical offices and all of that. As long as you comply with high level regulatory stuff, you will be able to get massive volume. The other growth hack for you is, emerging economies will adopt this much faster than any emerging markets. So if you want to bring in massive volume, go after emerging economies where banking is still a very painful process, and incentivize the users. You will be able to see the volumes go up. And another hack, just before you plan to go reach out to some large investors, make sure your transaction volumes are looking great for the past 1 week. Don't try not to go pitch when you are at your all-time low in transaction value, because we did that mistake. Because typically it's a human tendency, right? They will look at what has been your volume for the last 4 days, 5 days, 1 week, and if it is too low, then you are starting with on a rough pitch. Instead, start do it when your volumes are high, and if there is a possibility, run campaigns for user onboarding, for user acquisition, for ramping up the volumes just before you're going for your large fundraise. I can shamelessly admit that we did it. We incentivized users heavily. We ran campaigns and we did a massive reach out before we went out for fundraising. And the other thing is, I'm sure everybody in the room have been seeing or attending Consensus, Token 2049 and all of these. Some of these flagship Web3 events, obviously there is an immense value in side events. I'll tell you more about it. But when you are doing this pre-event attendance, make sure that 10 days prior to that event, your volumes are very high. Because if you are presenting, you're speaking, you are meeting people, the first thing anybody does in the Web3 world is they go back and see what is your transaction volume. So as long as you're able to manage and navigate this and get that first big check in, you are in a good shape. And once you have investment, the only thing that you should do is scale like there is no tomorrow. We started acquiring countries at a scale of 3 to 4 countries every week. We used to we hired what we call as CGOs, chief growth officers, started talking to all the regional telecom carriers in those countries and started scaling. So 1 to 10 countries, first 10 countries took us 8 months, 10 to 35 countries took us 1 quarter, and 35 to 100 was in a period of 5 months. So once you scale, then you become too big to fail. Once you have 10,000 people processing on your chain, then there is no way that. And the beauty with all the payment platforms that we are building is it gets users so addicted, right? Today you can make payment processing happen on Zebu in 4 clicks. If you have to do it from bank, it is so painful. So once people get used to it, then you don't have to incentivize them anymore. I hope I was able to answer the question, Neha, but yeah, these are a few points that will probably help you scale.